Discover how my family dinner exposed hidden truths of love and life-changing forgiveness. Jenna stood in the kitchen, her heart racing as she decorated the table for Ben's graduation dinner. The air was thick with the scent of roasted chicken and baked potatoes, a symphony of normalcy that felt both inviting and overwhelming. She glanced at the balloons, each bright color a mask hiding the tension that simmered underneath. Today was supposed to be a celebration, but as her hands shook while arranging the silverware, she couldn't help but feel that this was also an emotional minefield. "Mom. They're here." Ben's voice rang out, anchors her thoughts back to the present. Jenna smoothed her navy dress, forcing a smile that struggled to reach her eyes. The arrival of Greg, her estranged father, felt like pouring gasoline on the flames of her long-held resentment. The man who had chosen his career over family was now walking through her front door, and as he swept into the room, Jenna's chest tightened. Underneath the festive decorations, emotions hid in every corner. Laughter filled the air, yet it felt like a veil over the grievances piled high over the years. Ben, blissfully unaware, excitedly recounted his college plans, tossing in a few stories that elicited chuckles, each word a gentle reminder of how life must go on, regardless of scars. Then, the moment Jenna dreaded arrived as Greg reached for the bread basket. "I just wanted to say," he began cautiously, "I've missed so much of your life, Jenna." The elephant in the room seemed to grow larger as she rolled her eyes. His sincerity felt misplaced amidst all their years of silence. How could he think a few apologies could patch the gaping wound? Everything in her wanted to unleash years of pent-up anger. But before she could speak, Greg continued, voice trembling. "You think I didn't care? That I chose work over you? I did what I had to do." He spoke of struggles, of long nights working multiple jobs, of a patriot who fought for a country that paid little heed. Each word dripped with pain, and Jenna began to see the man behind her father, stripped of the armor she had always worn. A pang of guilt hit her. This man, the unyielding figure of her childhood nightmares, was still human. Still struggling. But her own hurt sliced deeper, harder to let go of. Just as the tension reached its peak, Ben broke the silence. "Dad, can I say something?" His earnestness turned heads, eyes widened, as his voice cut through the discord. "Grandpa, you helped the shelter by donating food. I never knew." It was a revelation that wrapped around Jenna's heart, stirring a mix of surprise and confusion. Greg nodded, sorrow etched on his face as he admitted, "I wanted to give back. I thought maybe I could make up for everything." His gaze shifted between Jenna and Ben, vulnerable yet strong. It was as if the years of neglect were dissolving, as if they were standing amidst freshly fallen snow, ready for a new beginning. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The weight of unspoken words hung heavy, but Jenna felt an uncharacteristic flicker of hope. Realization washed over her. Maybe forgiveness was just a gesture away, a step she'd always feared to take. The silence that enveloped the room was punctured by Ben's hopeful grin, a gentle nudge toward healing. Jenna inhaled deeply, caught between the desire to break her silence and the fear that haunted her past. Would she take that leap into uncertainty, or would she retreat, tethered to the painful memories tied to her childhood? As the atmosphere shifted, the path before her shimmered with potential, yet the shadows lingered, leaving Jenna struggling to embrace the heart of reconciliation. The moment hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. Jenna could feel her pulse quicken, beating like a warning drum in her chest. Every instinct urged her to retreat, to hide behind the wall of hurt she had built over so many years. Yet, Ben's innocent smile pierced through her fear. He believed in the possibility of change. Could she? "Dad," her voice trembled as it broke through the awkward silence. "I didn't realize. You were trying to help." Greg's eyes widened as he absorbed her words, a flicker of hope igniting within him. I thought if I could just do anything to make a difference. But why didn't you just tell me? She pressed, the weight of her pain spilling over. Why did you think all of this was okay to keep hidden? Beneath her frustration, Jenna's heart was a whirlwind of empathy and rage. She had spent years battling her demons, years where his absence had left a void that echoed with unresolved questions. I didn't want to burden you, he confessed, a cracked voice that revealed more than the usual pride he wore like armor. I didn't know how to reach out without reopening wounds. His vulnerability pulled at something deep inside Jenna. She felt resentment fade, edged out by understanding. It was a strange and unfamiliar sensation, like the first light of dawn breaking through the night. I just wish you had been there for the little things, she said, her voice softer but still raw. School plays, those moments mattered to me, Dad. Ben watched the exchange, sensing the emotional thaw between his mother and grandfather. His fingers drummed quietly on the table, hoping for more. You're not gone forever, Grandpa, he said with sincerity. You can be part of our lives now. Jenna's eyes softened. The shadow of her father's past misdeeds still loomed, but in that moment, she felt the fragile threads of connection weaving anew. We can try, right? Jenna's heart raced, stepping gingerly into the possibility of forgiveness, as if planting a seed beneath the barren ground of her own heart. Yes. Greg exclaimed, a spark of joy brightening his face. I want to be here. I want to know you both. The familiar warmth of laughter began to fill the room again, but it felt like a new melody, one built on the fresh notes of hope and understanding rather than lingering resentment. Jenna's heart swelled with cautious optimism, but a tiny voice at the back of her mind reminded her of all the reasons to be vigilant. Just as they settled into this new rhythm, a knock interrupted the moment. The sound shattered the fragile tension that had begun to thaw. The door swung open to reveal Sarah, Ben's best friend, her bright energy illuminating the dim corners of the room. Did I miss the party? She chirped, her enthusiasm seemingly oblivious to the emotional turmoil inside. Ben chuckled, instantly distracted. You made it just in time for dessert. But Jenna's attention remained with Greg. She could feel the shadow of their conversation still lingering, waiting to be unwrapped with every interaction. Can we really do this? She asked Greg, genuine concern breaking through her cautious optimism. Nods of determination passed between them, but the unsettled feeling in Jenna's stomach remained. As they settled back into the celebratory atmosphere, laughter erupted involving Sarah's antics and Ben's tales of college, but Jenna felt a growing intrigue surrounding the knock. Who else could be stepping into their lives, and how would that impact this fragile new beginning of understanding? She glanced up just as Ben pulled away to greet Sarah, the words of deep conversation still echoing in her head. Was it possible they could really navigate this new chapter together? What other truths might unfold in the warmth of their shared company? Jenna felt a mixture of excitement and dread. Change was coming, rapid and unpredictable. What lay beyond the door, beyond the dinner, was still unknown, but one thing was certain. The journey toward reconciliation had only just begun. What would it bring next? The laughter in the room felt like a warm blanket, cozy yet slightly suffocating to Jenna. She observed Ben's animated expression, his bright smile a stark contrast to the weight still resting on her heart. As Sarah recounted an outrageous tale from school, Jenna couldn't shake the nagging worry weaving through her thoughts. She wanted to join in, to be present, yet the echoes of her earlier conversation with Greg kept surfacing like unwelcome waves. Do you want dessert now? Ben asked, turning back to her with a hopeful grin that lit up his face. Jenna nodded absently, forcing a smile as her mind wandered. The dessert would be delicious, sure, but it felt superficial in light of the deeper issues lingering beneath the surface. Could dessert really sweeten the bitter taste of unresolved feelings? I'll help. Ben dashed to the kitchen, pulling Sarah along with him. The sound of their laughter faded, leaving Jenna alone with Greg again. The atmosphere was lighter, but Jenna felt the heaviness of unsaid words still hovering, casting a shadow over their moments of joy. Jenna Gregg began, but she waved a hand, pinning her hopes on the distraction of dessert to push the deeper conversation away for now. "I just want a few minutes of normal," she murmured. "Let us not overthink everything, Dad." His gaze was steady. "Normal? It's good to want that, Jenna, but sometimes the truth can't wait." She swallowed hard, restlessness pooling in her stomach. "And what truth would that be? The one where I endured years of feeling abandoned? The one where you were the reason behind all my distrust? Maybe we can start fresh. Without the past hanging over us," he suggested, his voice steady but cautious. "Is it that easy?" Before Greg could respond, the kitchen door swung open, and Ben reappeared, balancing a platter stacked with thick slices of chocolate cake, feeling proud of his offering. "Dessert's here. Who wants the first piece?" Greg's mouth twisted in a half-smile, grateful for the interruption. "Looks amazing, buddy." His eyes flicked to Jenna, a question lingering unsaid between them. Would they really dive into the truth that night, or would they sidestep it like they often had? As they dug into the cake, the room burst into shared laughter again. Each bite filled with rich sweetness held promises of temporary joy but left Jenna feeling strangely hollow. She watched Ben relish his dessert, his youth shining brightly. Did he even grasp the gravity of the discussions waiting like dormant volcanoes just beneath the surface? "Hey, I just remembered." Sarah piped up, mouth half full, "You have that family event next month. You can both come." Her eyes sparkled, unaware of the tension still lingering in the air. "Family event?" Greg echoed curiously, yet Jenna felt the dissonance ripple through her. "What family event?" "Yeah," Sarah continued. "It's a potluck at the community center. You won't believe the amount of great food there. We should go." The mention of gathering with others sent a ripple of panic through Jenna. This was more than just a meal, it was a confrontation with her past, a taste of the family she could barely acknowledge. But Ben's eager expression softened her resistance. The delight in his eyes held a plea for connection. "Come on, Mom. It'll be fun. It's just a meal, right? Just a meal." The phrase echoed in her mind, triggering deeper questions. Could it really be just about food? Or was it a chance to resurrect bonds that had been severed for too long? Jenna's resolve felt tested. She wanted to say yes, to give this effort a chance. But the remnants of hurt still clawed at her heart. How could she trust her father or herself in this new journey? As the conversation flowed around her, with laughter and teasing filling the air, Jenna felt torn. A flicker of hope blossomed, quickened by Ben's enthusiastic words, but looming doubts soon extinguished it. Could she truly step into a space where love and forgiveness existed side by side? Then, like a lightning strike, Greg spoke again, his voice steady with newfound resolve. "What if we all went together? Got to know each other in a bigger way like a family?" But just as Jenna was about to respond, a startling knock reverberated through the house again. This time it felt less like a mere tap and more like a challenge. Who could be at the door now? What additional truths or complications awaited them? Her heart raced, and at that moment, she realized that perhaps, just maybe, the real journey was only beginning. How would she face whoever lay beyond that door? Jenna's heart thudded, the knock ringing in her ears like a declaration that the moment of truth had arrived. She exchanged hesitant glances with Greg, both of them pondering the possibilities. A few seconds felt like an eternity before Ben flung the door open wide, his innocent eagerness illuminating the room. Standing at the threshold was a figure Jenna never expected to see. A woman, familiar yet distant, with dark hair and warm eyes that mirrored her own. Jenna instinctively took a step back, as if retreating from the past that lurked at her doorway. "Mom?" Ben shouted, bringing everyone's attention back to the surprised guest, his excitement hanging thick in the air. The woman smiled, though there was an unmistakable tension in the curve of her lips. "Surprise? I hope it's okay that I just dropped by. Is it really you?" Jenna found her voice, but it trembled like a fragile leaf in the wind. Her heart raced as she tried to process the emotions swirling in her chest. Of course, it's me. I didn't want to miss seeing you all and I heard about the potluck. Potluck? Greg echoed, confusion mingling with surprise. Yeah. I was just telling Jenna and Ben about it, Sarah chimed in, her eyes wide with intrigue. The atmosphere in the room shifted, fraught with unsaid words and unacquainted feelings. No longer did dessert feel like a sanctuary, it turned into a battleground for thoughts Jenna had pushed aside for too long. Mom, I can't believe you're here, she choked out, her heart still pounding against her ribs. I know, it's been a while, the woman replied softly. There's so much we need to talk about. Talk about? What's there to say? Jenna snapped, frustration bubbling up alongside her confusion. You left. You walked away. I thought I was doing what was best for you, her mother began, but Jenna shook her head. Best? You think abandoning me was for my own good? Each word was charged with the hurt of years lost, years that Jenna could never claim as hers alone. Jenna, please. It's complicated, she said, her voice filled with an edge of desperation. Complicated? Complicated is me trying to navigate a world where you weren't around. Complicated is me learning to deal with the feelings of being unwanted. Ben's eyes flitted nervously between the two women, clearly taken aback by the unfolding drama. Mom, can we please just take a breath? He pleaded, setting the dessert platter down. Maybe we can talk about everything instead of fighting right now? The innocence of his suggestion hung in the air, a lifeline that stirred Jenna's emotions. She felt anger, pain, and a flicker of hope swirl together. Maybe just maybe this could be a moment to break through the walls that had kept them apart. Jenna turned to Greg, searching for support or even an explanation, but he simply looked between the two women, helpless. His gaze spoke volumes, urging her to consider the chance before her. It felt like a dangerous invitation, one she could easily refuse. As silence settled, the weight of years lingered heavily yet somehow invited conversations that had been shut away. Would she find the strength to address the scars of the past? And just as her resolve began to shift, the door creaked open wider as a gust of wind swirled into the living room. A familiar face peered inside, drawing Jenna's attention once more. A flicker of recognition crossed her features, someone from her past she thought she had buried deep. Is this the Smith family dinner? The newcomer asked with a tentative smile, unwittingly adding another layer of complexity to the night. Jenna swallowed hard, the tightening knot in her chest making it hard to breathe. With wounds opening and old ghosts resurfacing, she sensed they were on the brink of something monumental. Would this evening be a chance for healing, or would it plunge them deeper into unresolved chaos? As her heart raced with anticipation and dread, one question blossomed furiously in her mind. What was she truly willing to face tonight? The newcomer stepped fully inside, the fading light catching their features just enough for Jenna to see the nervous smile, a mix of recognition and uncertainty. It was Emily, a friend from her teenage years, a constant in the backdrop of all the chaos Jenna had faced. Memories of laughter, secrets, and late-night confessions flooded back, but they felt tainted now, overshadowed by everything that had gone wrong. Jenna? Emily's voice was barely above a whisper, her eyes wide as she took in the scene. The tension crackled like static electricity in the air, and Jenna could hardly comprehend the flood of emotions pressing down on her. Yeah, it's me, Jenna replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She could feel her mother's gaze burning into her back, a reminder that the past was now tangled with her present. I didn't expect to see you here. I was passing by, Emily stammered, glancing between Jenna and the woman still lingering anxiously at the door. Mom, Jenna's tone shifted slightly, sharp yet tinged with vulnerability. This is Emily. She's someone from my past. Emily's brow furrowed as she sensed the weight of the room. Is everything okay? I mean, we can talk later if this is a bad time. Wait, you're still friends? Ben interjected, his boyish enthusiasm a breath of fresh air in the charged atmosphere. He shuffled closer to Emily, his innocent curiosity bridging the gap between the adults' heavy hearts. "Yeah, we were really close," Jenna said, forcing out a smile that felt thin. "Just life happened." "Gotcha." Ben tenderly squeezed Emily's hand, then turned his gaze back towards the doorway. "So, you came right in time. We were just about to have dessert." It was a small, silly moment, but it lightened the thick air just enough to allow silence to fill the gaps, allowing everyone to gather breath. Jenna felt a flicker of pride in Ben's ability to diffuse the situation without even realizing the enormity of their collective pasts. "I love dessert," Emily said, trying to divert attention, though uncertainty slipped through her voice too. "What are you having?" "Jenna baked pie," Greg offered, stepping into the lull, hoping to instill a little normalcy. "Pie's my favorite." "I can't wait." Emily grinned, and in that split second, Jenna saw her old friend, the girl who made silly faces and shared secrets until the sun came up, but the moment didn't last. Jenna's mother cleared her throat. "Can we please speak privately for a moment, honey?" Jenna's heart sank. Could this really wait? Or was this another attempt to sweep everything from the past under the rug? She hesitated. "Just give her a chance," Greg murmured, giving her a soft nudge. "Maybe this is her way of trying." Before Jenna could gather her thoughts, Emily chimed in. "Come on, we can grab dessert and talk later. Family stuff can be complicated." "Yeah, complicated," Jenna echoed, irony dripping from her voice as she looked back at the woman who had broken her heart 1,000 times over. "Look, I'm sorry," her mother said, her eyes pleading. "Just 10 minutes, okay? I need to explain." Jenna stood there, torn. She looked back at Emily, wanting to cling on to the familiarity she had missed. But at the same time, she felt the pull toward confronting her own history. The weight of emotional baggage pressed down upon her, and all she could do was inhale deeply. The air felt thick, fogged by the memories and the uncertainties of what lay ahead. Jenna nodded, the answer tumbling over her lips like an inevitable truth. "Fine. 10 minutes. As she turned on her heel to walk away, Jenna felt a rush of fear and anticipation mingling inside her. Each step toward her past felt like stepping onto shaky ground, and she couldn't help but wonder if her heart was ready to be vulnerable again. Would this small act of bravery lead to the closure she'd long craved or pull her deeper into despair? Only time could tell, but amidst her uncertainty, the questions burned brighter. What hidden truths would rise to the surface? And would love and forgiveness ever find a way to mend her fractured heart? Jenna stepped away, the soft sound of Emily's laughter fading behind her. Her heart thudded in her chest, drowning out the noise of the world outside as she moved. Each step felt heavier than the last, uncertainty gnawing at her insides. In the dim light of the small corridor, memories flooded her thoughts, afternoons spent giggling with Emily, whispering about crushes and daring to dream. Those moments felt like a warm cocoon, safe and nurturing. But now they lay in stark contrast to the tension in her home, the weight of her mother's unresolved words pressing against the walls. "Jenna," her mother's voice cut through the silence, gentle yet firm. It was a tone Jenna recognized, the one she'd once found comfort in, now riddled with apprehension. "Please understand, I know I haven't been there for you like I should have." Jenna paused just outside the living room door, her heart aching. "You think I don't know that? We've been over this." "I didn't choose to leave you," her mother replied. "Life happened. But I've really tried to make amends." Taking a deep breath, Jenna turned to face her. "Trying's not enough, Mom." Behind her, Jenna could hear Ben excitedly offering Emily a slice of pie, the sounds of carefree laughter ringing in sharp contrast to the heaviness in her chest. It hurt to hear joy when her own heart felt like it was shrouded in shadows. "What do you want from me?" Jenna's words came out sharper than intended, her frustration pouring over the years of pent-up resentment. "Do you want me to just forgive everything? All those times you weren't there?" Her mother stepped closer, the softness in her gaze faltering but not breaking. I want you to understand that I've been working on myself. I'm not the same person now that I was back then. You have every right to be angry, but I want to make it right if you can give me the chance. Jenna's resolve wavered as the memories of childhood warmth fought against the cold reality of her mother's mistakes. Could she truly open that door again? Was it too late? Right or wrong, I've needed you, she said, the vulnerability creeping into her voice, trembling like a fragile flame. But I can't pretend nothing happened. I know, her mother whispered, her voice thick with emotion. I can't change the past, but I want to show you that I can be someone you can count on now. Please let me try. Jenna felt the cracks in her armor begin to widen. It scared her, the idea of letting someone in when they had hurt her before. But what if this was her chance, her opportunity to rewrite their story? She looked at her mother, really looked, and saw a glimpse of the woman she had longed for all these years. What if I can't? She asked softly. What if I can't just turn it off? There was a long pause, heavy with the weight of their shared struggles. Then her mother nodded slowly. I'd rather understand that than lose you again. Take your time. I'll be here, ready to do the work. As Jenna considered her words, she was struck by a thought, a reality that knocked the wind out of her. Was forgiveness possible? Behind her, the laughter continued, drawing her thoughts back. Emily and Ben were lost in their own little world, innocent and untainted by past hurts. Let us get through dinner first, Jenna finally replied, her pulse racing. Then we can talk more. Her mother's eyes shimmered with a mixture of relief and hope. Thank you, she said, stepping back, giving Jenna space. As Jenna turned to join the others, the tension was still there, but there was also a flicker of something new, possibility. Maybe their night would hold more than just pie and laughter. Perhaps it would lead to heartfelt conversations and a blossoming of trust that had long since withered. And deep down, that glimmer of hope began to spark a cautious resolve in her heart. Was she ready for the challenge ahead? As she stepped into the light of the living room, the questions lingered in the air. Was the journey toward healing worth the risk of vulnerability? With dessert beckoning, she couldn't help but wonder if the hidden truths that emerged wouldn't just reveal the fragility of their relationships, but also the strength required to forge new beginnings. What else might she uncover if she dared to taste the sweetness mixed with the bittersweet? Jenna walked into the living room, the vibrant colors of the setting sun spilling through the window, casting a soft golden hue over the laughter-filled atmosphere. Emily was animatedly describing her latest school adventure, her hands flying through the air with every word. Ben, leaning back in his chair, listened intently, a curious smile playing on his lips. The warmth of their friendship wrapped around Jenna, but it felt like a fragile bubble ready to burst. As she pulled a chair out, the scrape against the hardwood floor sounded jarringly loud. The laughter paused, and all eyes turned to her, a mix of concern and confusion swirling in the air. Jenna forced a smile, hoping it would mask the storm brewing inside her. Everything okay? Emily asked, her eyes wide with genuine worry. Yeah, just thinking, Jenna replied, settling into her chair. She reached for a slice of pie, the sweet aroma momentarily distracting her. It was her mother's famous apple pie, but the smell felt different tonight, like it held the weight of unspoken words. Your mother said you two were having a serious talk, Ben chimed in, his voice light but his expression serious. Want to spill the tea? Jenna chuckled softly, the warmth reaching her heart momentarily. It was nothing, she shrugged, even though she knew better. Just about life and stuff. Her mother was watching her closely, a hint of worry etched on her face. Jenna could feel the tension drifting between them like a guided missile, ready to lock onto its target. She wished she could just enjoy the moment, a normal dinner with friends and family, but the truth hung heavy, a shadow lurking at the edges. Mom, she finally broke the silence, can we talk, now? While we eat? Her mother nodded, the flicker of apprehension evident in her eyes. Of course, sweetheart. As they dug into their pie, Jenna could feel her heart racing. She glanced at Emily, who was giving her a supportive nod, and it anchored her. Maybe this was the moment to start bridging the gap that had loomed like a chasm for far too long. "Mom," Jenna began, her voice steadying as she glanced down at her pie. "I know that you want to be a better mother now. But I'm afraid. Afraid to trust again." Her mother's spoon paused mid-air. "I can't imagine how hard this is for you. But I promise, I'm trying my best. I want to earn your trust back. Will you let me?" "I want to," but Jenna hesitated, her thoughts cascading like a waterfall. "Every time I think about forgiving you, it stings. I don't know if I can just forget the years that we lost." Emily leaned forward, her expression brimming with empathy. "But what if you don't have to forget? Maybe it's about finding a way to move forward together." The room fell silent, the weight of truth settling around them. Jenna's gaze darted between her mother and Emily. "Is it really that simple?" she asked quietly. Her mother's eyes gleamed with unshed tears. "Nothing about this journey is simple. But we can take it one step at a time. I wish I could go back and change things, but I can't. The only thing I can do now is commit to being here, showing up the best way I know how." Ben cleared his throat as he watched the exchange. "You're not alone in this. You have people who care about you." Jenna felt her chest tightening with a mix of fear and hope. Could this be the moment that changed everything? The thought made her dizzy. She had wanted this connection, this closeness, but letting go of fear felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap into the unknown. "What if I fall?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then I'll be there to catch you," her mother replied, her voice thick with emotion, but sturdy. And suddenly, it all felt like a delicate dance, fear intertwined with possibility, vulnerability mingling with trust. Jenna took a deep breath, the weight of choices pushing down on her. Maybe it was time to truly risk the leap. As dessert concluded and the laughter began to fade into deeper conversations, a tiny spark of resolve ignited within her, but just as she felt that spark start to illuminate her path, a sudden knock echoed through the house, jolting her back to reality. Jenna's heart raced again, this time with dread. Who could that be? As her mother moved towards the door, an uneasy silence stretched between them. What would the arrival of an unexpected visitor bring to the surface? Would it help or hurt the fragile thread they were trying to weave back together? The tension thickened, and Jenna found herself holding her breath, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. Jenna's heart drummed loudly in her chest as her mother reached for the door. She felt a knot twist in her stomach. Was it someone from her past, or worse yet, someone who could undo the tentative progress they were making? The door creaked open, and a tall figure stood silhouetted against the fading light. Jenna squinted, straining to see past the shadows. It was her Uncle Greg, a mix of relief and confusion washing over her. She hadn't seen him in years, not since the family gatherings had scattered like leaves in the wind after her parents' divorce. "Greg! What a surprise!" her mother exclaimed, stepping aside to let him in. He stepped into the warm glow of the living room, his eyes darting around as if trying to take it all in. The laughter faded, replaced by an awkward silence that pressed heavily on everyone. Jenna's unease grew. Would he bring more complications to the night? "Sorry for dropping in unannounced," Greg said, scratching the back of his head. "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd check on you guys." Jenna noticed the way her mother's face brightened, yet the flicker of worry remained. Greg had always been the joker in the family, the one to lighten the mood, but that was before everything unraveled. She wasn't sure what his presence would mean now. "Dinner's still here," Emily chirped, eager to bridge the gap. "We just finished dessert. You should join us." "Desperate times call for desperate measures," he replied with a grin, settling himself into a vacant chair. As he reached for a plate, Jenna studied him closely, noticing lines etched into his face, a sign of time and struggles she could only guess at. While everyone filled plates, Jenna's mind raced. Would her uncle's arrival disrupt the fragile conversation she'd been gearing up for? Or could this be a chance for healing beyond her mother's apology? "So, how are things for you guys?" Greg asked, casually trying to weave back into the fabric of their family. Emily launched into one of her lively stories about school, and the room slowly began to breathe easily again. Laughter spilled over, mixed with teasing comments and nostalgic memories. Greg contributed, his light-hearted jokes filling the cracks of tension, and yet, Jenna could feel an underlying current in the room, something unspoken lingering at the edges of every smile. Jenna watched her mother as she laughed, an expression of warmth crossing her face that Jenna hadn't seen in what felt like an eternity. It was strange to witness, like a sliver of hope peeking through a storm cloud. Part of her wanted to forge ahead, to dive into their conversation about trust and forgiveness, but another part clung to the moment like a breath held underwater. Eventually, a lull fell, and Jenna knew she had to take the plunge. "Greg," she started, her voice steadying as she caught her mother's encouraging gaze, "can we talk about something real for a minute? Something important?" He turned to her, surprise mingling with curiosity. "Of course, Jenna. What's on your mind?" Her heart raced, the knot tightening again. She glanced toward her mom, drawing strength from her reassuring presence. "It's about family, about how we kind of lost each other over the years. Everything that happened, it's hard to talk about." Greg's expression shifted, urgency in his tone. "Listen, it's easy to hold on to the past, but family, it can heal. You just have to be willing to take that first step. I wish I had pushed to keep things together when it fell apart." There was something in his voice, a depth of understanding that struck Jenna. She felt the room oxygenate with the shared weight of truth, words unsaid hanging in the air. At that moment, Jenna realized this was the opening she needed, not just for her own healing, but also as an invitation for her mother to join this circle of vulnerability. It was a chance to rewrite their story together, one small step at a time, but just as Jenna opened her mouth to continue, a sudden commotion erupted outside, a loud crash, followed by raised voices. A chill ran through her. This wasn't just a family dinner anymore, it felt like a storm was brewing, ready to unleash chaos. "What now?" Jenna murmured, her heart racing again. Would this disturbance lead to another fracture? Or could it spark a breakthrough? With a questioning frown, she looked toward her mother. What would they face together now? Heavy footsteps thundered up the path outside, and Jenna's breath caught. She exchanged a quick look with her mother, whose smile had evaporated, replaced by a furrowed brow. Greg's jovial demeanor seemed to fade as he leaned forward in his chair. "What's that noise?" Greg asked, his tone now edged with concern. Emily looked toward the window, her curiosity piqued. Jenna felt her stomach twist again, as if it already knew that the evening was taking a hard turn. The voices outside grew louder, punctuated by sharp words and startled laughter, and she could feel a sense of impending dread coiling in the pit of her stomach. "Do you think it's a party?" Emily ventured, trying to find humor in the chaos. Jenna didn't laugh. The tension was thick enough to slice, she could almost taste the worry in the air. "I don't know, I think it sounds like." Before she could finish, the front door burst open, revealing a disheveled teenager, breathless and wide-eyed. "Jenna! You need to come see this." "Dylan?" Jenna blurted out. Her younger brother shouldn't be running into their home like that, a beacon of chaos. "What's going on?" "There's a party out front. Some people crashed and Dylan broke off before throwing a wild gesture behind him, revealing a crowd spilling onto their lawn, adults and kids mixed together, punctuated by laughter that was way too loud and excitement that felt foreign in their home. Greg shot Jenna a concerned look as if to confirm that this wasn't the right kind of family reunion they'd hoped for. Jenna felt her heart racing again, but this time not out of anxiety, it was something more potent, a stirring urgency. Could this be a chance for them to confront underlying issues instead of having another quiet, tense evening? "Let's go see," she proposed, rising to her feet. She caught her mother's eyes, searching for agreement. Okay, her mother finally said, though hesitation lingered at the edges of her voice. But let South stay close together. Emily jumped up excitedly, oblivious to the simmering anxiety. I want to see. As they stepped outside, the scene met them like a rush of cool air. A sunlit assembly of familiar faces stretched across their front yard, some from school, others family friends, and a few who Jenna had long lost track of. Laughter climbed higher, rising above their apprehension, weaving through the air and threading through the tightness in Jenna's chest. Kids darted between tables piled high with snacks. Adults joined in game-styled banter, the kind that forgot the weight of their adult lives for just a moment. Jenna's heart raced as she felt the collective euphoria of freedom from conversations about pain and regret, if only for tonight. See? Greg said, nudging her gently with his elbow. Maybe this isn't such a bad interruption after all. Reluctantly, she let herself smile. There was an infectious energy that radiated from the crowd, and she could feel her mother slowly unwinding beside her. The laughter echoed, filling the void, and it felt like a tiny thread of hope trying to knit the family back together. Let's get involved, Emily exclaimed, grabbing Jenna's hand, pulling her toward the lively group. Jenna couldn't resist. They wove together in the festivity, laughter spilling out as they reunited with old friends. Just as Jenna started to let the moment wash over her, she heard a voice shout from the back, cutting through the cheer, "Hey! Is that Uncle Greg?" Jenna turned to see someone she hadn't expected. It was one of Greg's old friends, Mike, someone from the distant corners of her childhood memory. The man approached, gesturing animatedly. "You're back. We thought you'd vanished." Suddenly, Jenna sensed the drama of the night shifting. She could see that shine in Greg's eyes, a mixture of regret and surprise. Before she could process the implications, the celebration had turned toward Greg, reconnecting him with pieces of his past, something Jenna had no idea would unravel before her, and as she watched her uncle begin to engage, there was a nagging thought that pricked at her heart. Was this what she wanted? Chains of the past could either bind or break her family anew, and in this moment of joy, would they end up facing those truths or bury them under laughter? A sudden realization hit her: tonight wasn't over yet. Jenna could feel a storm brewing, not just in her family, but deep within herself. What would her memories reveal when the dust settled? As Greg began to share stories, Jenna felt the old connections returning, but also knew that more layers lay just beneath the surface. What revelations would surface when their shared laughter faded away into the night? The clamor of the backyard party spilled into the night air, a tapestry of laughter, banter, and memories unfolding anew. Jenna watched as Greg mingled with old friends, the tension in his shoulders beginning to relax, the shadows of his past momentarily fading. It struck her perhaps this gathering was more than just noise, it was an opportunity for connection, for healing wrapped in the chaos of familiar faces. Ben raced past her, a slice of pie still in hand, while Emily urged Jenna to join in a game, invoking childhood nostalgia. Jenna hesitated, the weight of unresolved conversations with her mother still heavy in her heart. Could she allow herself to be swept up in this moment when so much still lingered, questions hanging like uncut threads? "Come on, Jenna!" Ben shouted, his joy contagious. She couldn't resist. The child's enthusiasm broke through her walls, and she felt her lips stretch into a smile. "All right. Just for a bit," she called out, joining Emily at the edge of the group. As they raced into the fray, the lights twinkling above felt like stars igniting hope within her, yet, even amidst the celebration, her mind returned to her mother's recent words, the promise of understanding and a commitment to change hanging heavy between them. After what felt like hours of laughter and joy, Jenna felt a tug at her heart, a quiet yearning for a deeper conversation, a reckoning with the past that still whispered at the fringes. Finally, after a game of tag left her breathless, she pulled her mother aside, her heart determined yet frail. The night sky wrapped them in darkness, punctuated by the stars above, flickering like their fragile relationship. "Mom, we need to talk," Jenna said quietly. The laughter behind them faded into a backdrop as they stood together, vulnerable in the stillness. I've been wondering when you'd bring it up, her mother admitted, a slight tremor to her voice. I know tonight has thrown so much at us, but I want to talk about everything about us. Jenna felt her defenses waver, the wall she had built over the years slowly beginning to crumble. I know it's going to be hard, but I want to understand how we can rebuild this, Jenna confessed. I don't want to keep feeling like I'm stuck between forgiveness and resentment. Her mother reached out, taking Jenna's hands in hers. It's going to take time, honey, but this moment you're willing to face, it's a good start. Let us promise to talk openly. When we slip, we will work to fix it together. A tear threatened to escape Jenna's eye as she nodded, the tension between them easing. Can we start by talking about the little things I missed? The birthdays, school events, my life, she murmured, her voice breaking with the weight of years. I wish I could have been there, her mother said, the sincerity wrapping around Jenna's heart like a balm. But I want to hear every detail now. Every achievement, every failure. I want to really know you. The sincerity in her mother's gaze struck a chord deep within Jenna. Forgiveness wasn't a leap from one extreme to another, it was a journey made of small steps toward understanding, sometimes aided by laughter, sometimes by tears. Just as they began to wade deeper into conversation, Ben bounded towards them, eyes wide with excitement. Hey, you guys. You have to come see this. He grabbed their hands, pulling them back into the mingling crowd where the night pulse was vibrant alive. What is it, buddy? Jenna asked, her heart racing at his enthusiasm. They turned to the center of the party where Greg had taken the stage impromptu with a group of his friends, laughter ricocheting through the air. Just wait. It's going to be legendary. He announced, grinning wildly. Jenna and her mother chuckled, momentarily delighting in Ben's joy. As the music blared and families danced beneath the moon, it felt as if the healing threads between them grew stronger, woven into the fabric of their shared laughter. Yet, it was not just about the joy. It was also about the marble-sized hope that nestled within Jenna. Breaking connections and rebuilding them anew could only mean one thing: embracing her past and using it to brighten the future. As she stood there, watching her family broken yet trying to mend, she realized this experience might just be their most significant chapter yet. Their scars were part of the story, but they wouldn't define it. Instead, they would merge, along with laughter and newfound understanding, into a narrative built on love and resilience. With each moment, the emotional alchemy of the night transformed hurt into an incandescent warmth. The darkness began to lighten, and she felt a surge of courage. Perhaps one day she would feel ready to forgive all the way, not just for her mother, but for herself too. Together, we can do this, she whispered softly to herself, the stars above witnessing her silent promises. For the first time in years, the future felt bright, not just for her family but for herself. This was a new beginning. From here, who knew what might unfold? As the laughter swirled around her, Jenna felt the trust slowly taking root in her heart, a fragile but persistent bloom amidst the night. It brought with it hope bursting forth, a family beginning to transform. Now was not just the conclusion of a dinner, but the ultimate starting point for the connections they all desperately sought. And that felt like pure magic. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will ignite your heart and transform your life. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let us spread the joy of healing together.